You enter the jungle, and the first thing you feel is that you are not alone. There are no paths, no voices, only trees rising like living columns, and a silence so dense it feels like it's breathing in your ear. Suddenly, through the hot mist and the eternal green, an impossible city emerges. A city forgotten by time, but not by the gods. Temples pointing to the sky with millimetric precision. Staircases that sing with the sunlight. Walls still holding secrets written in stone. You are standing before the Mayans. They were not a tribe. They were not just warriors. They were astronomers, architects, mathematicians, a civilization that spoke the language of the universe. What you're about to discover could change the way you see history forever. The Mayans didn't call themselves what we call them today. They were one with the maze and the cosmos. According to their mythology, the gods tried multiple times to create humanity. First with clay, then with wood. They failed. But finally, man was made from May, and thus a sacred connection was born. The earth, the food, the spirit, all intertwined. Imagine waking up to the song of the Quetzals, surrounded by the thick mist of the tropical jungle. Your home has no stone walls or glass windows, but it was built with ancestral wisdom. You are in a Mayan village, and every corner is designed to respect the earth and survive with it. Unlike the grand cities with massive stone temples, most Mayans lived in humble homes made of wood, palm, mud, and limestone. They were oval or rectangular, built on a platform of stone or compacted earth. The walls were made of wattle and daub, a mix of mud and interwoven branches. During the day, the house was cool. At night, it was warm and always purposefully oriented, often toward the sun or sacred points in the calendar. At the heart of it all, the hearth. There, they cooked, they prayed, and they passed down history. Maize wasn't just food, it was the beginning of everything. They grew it as if it were sacred. They practiced milpa, a farming system that combined maize, beans, and squash. These three plants grew together and helped each other thrive. The maize provided height, the beans climbed the stalk and enriched the soil, and the squash shaded the ground from the sun. It was a self-sustainable system long before that word even existed. They also harvested cacao, chili, tomatoes, avocados, yucca, and many tropical fruits. They raised turkeys, kept stingless bees, and fished in rivers and along the coast. Their food was simple but full of meaning. Tortillas were round like the sun. Cacao was a drink for the nobles and the gods. Chili was used in almost everything, even for purification rituals. Their cuisine included atoles, tamales, stews with squash seeds, all cooked in clay pots over open flame. They ate together, sitting on the ground, sharing, because eating was also a spiritual act. Men worked the fields, hunted, or built structures. Women wove textiles, cooked meals, raised children, and crafted ceramics. Children learned by watching. There were no schools as we know them today, but there were teachers, the elders, the wise ones, the priests. Community was at the core of everything. No one lived for themselves. Everyone was part of the cycle of the earth and the cosmos. Even though the great Mayan civilization eventually declined, Their descendants still live today in regions like Yucatan, Chiapas, Guatemala, and Belize, and many of their traditions still live on. In some communities, they still build with palm. Centuries later, the wisdom that helped them survive the jungle still shines bright because the Maya were not only astronomers, warriors, and kings, they were, and still are, guardians of the earth. While Europe was still emerging from the Dark Ages, the Maya were building observatories, charting the path of Venus, and studying the heavens with unnerving precision. How did they reach such knowledge? Did they inherit it from an even older civilization? Or, as some believed, was it a gift from the gods themselves? Palenque, Tikal, Copan, Calakmul, Mayan cities were vast, dense, and hierarchical, with palaces, temples, ball courts, and rituals that would shake any visitor to their core. Each city-state had its own ruler, its own patron god, its own worldview, but they all shared something, an obsession with time, balance, and death. The jungle swallowed them whole, but their echo still resonates through LiDAR, a modern technology that penetrates dense foliage. We now know there were hundreds of cities with roads, canals, and structures still hidden beneath the canopy. The Maya were far from a primitive people. They were a power invisible to our modern eyes. The Mayan calendar is one of the most complex ever created. Not just one, but several interlocked systems. The Tzolk'in, sacred, the Hab, solar, and the long count. The world was not going to end in 2012. It was the beginning of a new cycle. To the Maya, time was spiral, not linear. Everything returns. Everything is reborn. The Maya made sacrifices to preserve universal order. Yes, human sacrifices, but also of themselves. Priests would pierce their tongues or genitals in mystical ceremonies. Every drop was a pact, every ritual a channel between this world and the other. To them, life was an offering, and sacrifice was not the end. It was transcendence. Chichen Itza hides more than just stairs. It's a living calendar. Twice a year, the shadow of a serpent slithers down the pyramid. It is Kukulkan, the god of wisdom. In other temples, the acoustics are so precise. You can hear a whisper from 50 meters away. Coincidence or spiritual technology? These structures didn't just master space, they mastered perception. They taught us that the Maya mysteriously vanished, but the truth is far more complex. There were droughts, wars, migrations. Some cities collapsed, others resisted. What truly happened was a transformation, and when the conquistadors arrived, their world became invisible. But the Maya are still here, in Guatemala, in the Yucatan, in their languages, in their maze. We are still uncovering knowledge we don't even fully understand. Hieroglyphic writing, advanced medicine, surgeries, herbal remedies, the codexes burned by fearful hands, but a few survived. What they knew could change what we think we know about the body, the mind, and the soul. Every night, when the sky fills with stars, you are gazing upon the same heavens they once worshipped. Every December 21st, the Mayan cycle of time is activated and the universe listens. If you manage to understand the hidden message in their temples, if you learn to read time as they did, then maybe, just maybe, you'll discover the Maya didn't just stare at the sky. They knew how to enter it.